Hello YouTube, excuse my voice if it gets rough. It is cold and rainy out today, and yesterday was the last warm day. Today is Thursday. We got probably a week of not getting above freezing hardly, getting in the teens overnight, chances of snow. So we're going to test out and see how nice it is in the hut. This is now formally called the hut. Here's the starter and generator they want me to put on here. And I can't tell you which is what the end looks like. But we went with generator delete. And if this starter was on there, you're not going to get these headers on there. Okay? This is all hot rod parts from the 55 Chevy. If we can find it, we cut our velocity stacks. I think that's what they call them. Hillborn fuel injection. See how we cut the stacks down? Now there's glue on that chrome. Don't look too close. You're not going to avoid it. You can try to put just a little bit on there and scrape everything off. And they had pegs on them. See that? I had to scrape it off. Just glue it. It's going to crawl up the chrome. See my engine stand? I call these chip clips because I use them on potato chips. You just buy them at the whatever store you buy your, you know what I mean, Staples or. That I took, if you can see it, and chopped off the fan belt and put a piece in there and then glued it and ground it to make it look alternator delete. Don't ask me how you keep the belt tight. That's your own imagination. It's probably going to be fan delete too because the fan blade's real cheapy. I made this starter. I tried to get in here like real life. Now, as far as this tranny is, you ever notice the battery symbol starts flashing? It doesn't do it at the end of a video. It doesn't when you try to start doing. I can't tell you if this is 3 or 4 speed. Let's pause and look. In the old days, they had them big, heavy cast iron 4 speeds. I think they were Saginaw. Some old guys tell me. Saginaw, Michigan. Am I right? That's what the cast iron trannies were. Okay, fresh battery. If it was a 4-speed, you would have one more lever. 3-speed, you got your low, which is one in reverse, 2 and 3. I'd almost say it could be a 4-speed. There could be a lever too. I'm not that familiar with the old ones. Chrome oil pan, and this is really weird. I have no idea what this is. The other engine had an oil filter, canister type. See these holes? The indents in the block right there? I do not know what those are. What's one model video where the guy said that's supposed to be the fuel pump, that little bump over here. I don't want to drop this. That's supposed to be the fuel pump. This is orange. It's not Chevy orange. If you do this, make sure you balance stuff. Oh, and we probably have a picture. We took a piece of styrofoam, put tape so it don't crumble away, and you can put your parts on a toothpick and shove them in there. Try to reuse the same holes if you can. You know, so you don't have 1,000 holes. The pipes. We can take our time, so I feel like I gotta hurry. Look what these pipes look like. See this where you glue that tip on? That's not acceptable. And we do not need chrome headers on a race engine. So here's what we did. And I'm trying to straighten it out, but ain't that a lot better? By the time you take the chrome out, they're a little bit smaller too. So they're gonna look better. I can't tell you if they tell you when to put these on. So I said, be careful, that thing can get top heavy on you. When you put these on, I had the right side to start with. Come on, get it right. I'm sure you can put them on, put them down in the frame either way. We may build some little rat rod, straight rod. So these may get chopped off. Wouldn't it be cool if you could, that little box I made out of a cigarette pack. It's not going to stand up. Okay. You just got to imagine this way. Imagine if you could chop these off, okay, and turn them like this and go along the frame. And find plastic like this. These look like kind of like them NASCAR zoomy pipes. If you might see NASCAR had something similar once, I think. It just don't want to cooperate, does it? It does not want me to stand that thing up. There. Instead of coming out like this, you chop them. Turn the corner and bring them down along the frame. So we don't know what we're going to do with them yet. Chrome oil pan. I mean, if you don't like the chrome, take it off. But, yeah, he does nice. Got a little box. I got a dumpster for spare parts. Let's see. Little junk gets thrown in the dumpster if you can see past the sandpaper. Parts off models. Let me just get it out of there. Leftover pieces and parts you might not use. So, you're throwing it in the garbage, but there might be something good down there. That X piece, see that? You could probably glue that together and make that flat exhaust pipe out of it. I've seen oval exhaust pipe on a car in real life. Twist them, don't get rid of it. Keep this away from model car stuff. Do not use this on plastic. You'll wish you never did. Okay. We're going to show you a quick look at the GMC. We got the front grille in it. Ain't that pretty? We're going to flip it over and show you how we glued that in there. We glued the bumper, did not glue that. We put E6000 to hold the headlights in. Because model car glue will... I got to candle this one out so the smoke's rolling. E6000 glue, and I did test on some clear plastic. You put model car glue in there, and that stuff will bleed through and really frost your headlights. But they do look white when you put them in there. They don't look clear like you think they do. Plus there's optical illusion of the chrome. Let's get this down and I'll show you what I do to get this together. But before I flip it upside down, see the big gap at the back where the box don't go up inside far enough? That's just the way it had to be done. But at least the dash is up against the bottom of the windshield. It's warped. And it's got foil tape holding it. You know, aluminum foil tape. So I didn't have to put no glue on the windshield. So let's get that down and we'll show you. We lost the tail light. Well, we didn't lose it. It fell out. We put the house. I'll just show you. Talk about nerve-wracking. See, I'm nervous to get near this thing. You talk about small parts. Okay, let's get down here close and personal. I mean, there's no frame on it as I fit. You can't even see the mirror and see what you gotta do to see it. These lights are not glued in here. I dropped one of these on the floor. You know, you see my pokey tool, you can tell how small it is. This is where the bumper is supposed to go in these holes. I put chrome exhaust tips there. I shaved my bumper off. I cut the corners off, okay? I got a picture somewhere. And I tucked it in, kind of like guys do with a roll pan when they do a custom pickup box. So, I think that looks cool. I'm going to convert that tool so it can't roll. You're getting up close to you. Oh, the seats. We chopped the seats down. Let's spin this around. I'm afraid to touch this thing. We cut the seats off on the bottom. They got plastic on the bottom and sunk them way down in the car. See? Because they look like some kind of lawn chair or something. And that's E6000 glue holding them too. We did not want to scrape a bunch of paint. We did scrape where the console is. E6000 goopy, syrupy, sticky glue. Hold the seats in. And I don't know if you can see it down in there. Look at the wing window. See where the bottom of the windshield is? See the top where it's warped? Anyway, we got the dash to go right up against the windshield. I opted to paint that with a toothpick on the dash because I did not like the decal. Oh, I got brave and did the door panels. I was not going to do them back here. In fact, if I had to do this over again, I'd probably sand all that out. So there's no interior there. Wow, that was a tin can. The temperature came up like goof off or something. You hear that clink? Temperature gauge. I have a can on my shelf out in the shop that does that. I used to fire up the wood stove. Yeah. That's when it had a brace there from the factory. That helped hold that. But I did pop that up in there a little more because, see, it has to fit up there in the corner. Okay, we're going to pause again. We don't want to do this one-handed. We want this jacked up in the back just a little bit. Look at your white wall in reference to the wheel well. And those can't be factory wheel wells. Look how wide they are. They look like they got fender flares. And see how the back is just a little more up. So we want it jacked up just a little bit in the back. Look at these views we're getting here. We're trying to get into this world like we're looking at a real car. So if you ain't careful on your headlights, there's a hole in that grill. If you can see a little black dot in the center. And that's about where you should glue it. And that's where I stuck the E6000. That will drop way down in the bottom of the bucket for the headlight. And those are small too. Do you see why I glued the hood on? We'll flip it over and show you what we did to hold the front grille in. Okay, we found a better pointer. We don't like that pokey tool for a pointer. I don't know if you can tell, but there's little pins on here where the bumper went in, and one of them was broke. And I had to glue a piece of plastic on there. It was squared and round. And that's hot glue. That's taking a real small piece of hot glue on your pokey tool, heating over the candle, get over here without dripping it on the paint or nothing, and getting it down in there and gluing it. If you look, you can see where there's the bumper. Check out. It holds the grill from falling down, which holds it from falling out. It just worked. See, so you can kind of see there. Here's what I did to hold this interior in. So just a cheapy little homemade axle. And this is a piece of plastic going across here to get the height I wanted. Okay, you see where I crammed a piece of plastic between this and these parts? And filled it full of hot glue. You're not going to see it. The same, this one holds the bumper on back here. Holds the back of the interior in. And this took some time because I kept putting glue in there because I kept having to push down because the car leaned. So I kept pushing one side down and holding it down and gluing, and then I'd let the glue cool and I'd come back and I'd push it down a little bit harder and to get this thing to set straight. You're not going to see that on the shelf. So it's not a model that's going to a car show. This was just see if I can make one. This, believe it or not, was a muffler. So it was kind of rounded and I made those grooves, and then see where it's got a flared edge? It made like a pedestal. It almost looks like airbags. Let me get that off there real quick. So you could actually fake all this and put some bars here, put fake loose. You could put like some ladder bar, 4-link suspension, and use airbags instead of loose springs. That's what I was trying to say. Loose spring delete. You could actually put some arms here and make this look like it's the 4-link. This, I touched it up. I'd had it sprayed. And it does look like it's hand painted because it is. We haven't put the shifter in yet. Ain't that a big hole for that shifter? I meant that the Scout Craft, you like the wheels. Can you see the bow tie emblems on these hubcaps? Around here in a circle. See them? Are those cool or what? My white walls are dirty already. Oh, be careful putting tires on. Remember I said you could glue these. Trying to find our pokey tool. Remember I said you could glue these because they come through and then have other pieces background. And then you can put the, be careful. I had my fingernails there and scuffed up the white wall. I used to soak these in hot water when I was a kid and do that. Because I like to have the wheels assembled, then put the tires on. Just real carefully. When you get down to this, boy, it gets delicate. You're afraid to touch anything. Especially when it's a show car. You know, it's going to be displayed on the shelf. These are not glued in there. That was nerve-wracking. In fact, that one, the red one's kind of snapped. The red one I would trust putting some glue on. I'm never going to try to glue them backup lights. Anybody know for sure? On these factory, was that like a brown, look like tool leather with stainless steel in here? Because it's all flowery and with a pattern like that. I think I'm right. Okay, that's enough of that. There's a whole display of that. Like I said, most of the model car stuff will be Sunday in the shop. I did post pictures of this. I think it's pretty cool. Let's put it up beside the Chevy here and we'll see the difference in the size. Get it up close. I don't know if you can tell it, but that looks awful small compared to that Chevy back there. Let's get a little bit closer. Totally opposite, right? This is slammed down on the street. I want this to look kind of like a California car, you know, nice bright colors like this. You go to the beach. I may make a couple surfboards. I made a surfboard out of the plastic on a cassette tape door years ago. I can make a surfboard to go in the back of this car. I can make 2 of them. Man, that's low. There, you get all those features like you do. Better than a TV show, huh? You say it's better than a TV show? Let's snap a shot right there. So you can kind of see how big the Chevy looks. Here, I'll show you a little quick clip what I do with my glue. I always have a little thing to put glue in and I use a toothpick. Okay, if you squeeze your tube on this side, right? Watch. See the glue come out? Okay, well, I'm squeezing it this way, right? You want to stop the glue, squeeze it this way. Tip it up. And kind of squeeze like this, and it'll suck it back in. Always have a rag handy. I pulled this off the other day, and it was really warm in here, and it just gushed all over. We'll try it one more time. We'll put a little bit of glue, and then we'll squeeze it like this. And it should stop dripping out. Just practice it. You got a whole tube of glue. I bought 2 tubes of glue for like $5. But it's naturally going to want to come out when you tip it up like that. You can't go up like this with the tube and squeeze it. Squeeze it just lightly like that. It kind of sucks the glue back in. There you go. Let's pause here a second. Okay, keep your cap clean. Don't be near your car. If you get glue on your fingers, wipe it off. I have plenty of little pieces of napkin around. Keep your cap nice and clean. Keep this clean. You can always wipe that off. They make non-toxic glue. I won't use it. I should learn how to use liquid glue, but I did 2 model cars. If you had a new tube, you'd see it don't take much glue. See how it's trying to come out? Watch. You see it suck back in there when I squeezed it? I tried to set it down something like this so I can get to the lid, because I'm one-handed right now, but we'll get the lid put back on it. We redid these headers. Those little tips that I had glued on there, I got rid of them because one came right off. So I heated it and melted it. And beware, I just used a lighter. You can crack plastic. If you look, you'll see where I cracked it. See, I just put some glue on it and put it back together. I mean, it's not perfect. Well, I did cheat and put some glue on the starter right there. I will paint the headers black, okay? And then I'll go back in and I'll dot some orange backing around on the head. It is not perfect. I said, you can see glue on that chrome in them injector tubes. When I see Hillborn injection on a car, like a sports car, an Italian car or something, you don't have stacks sticking out of the hood. The stacks are probably, what, maybe 6 inches tall? I don't like the idea of a chrome distributor cap, but look at the bling. Oh. It's not perfect. See how it kind of leans? Let me get to the back. See that? It's not flat. But I think that goes for both sides. So we don't care, as long as it looks the same. See that? Look down it. See how they kind of tilt up on the inside? As long as it's symmetrical. Use big words here, I don't use big. See right in the front, see that injector? You can see the white glue where it ate the chrome. I'll probably touch them up with some of my aluminum paint, because I'm sure they made them tubes out of aluminum stuff that wasn't chrome. Remember, this is a racing engine. It's not a fancy chrome in it, but I will be touching that all up. And you can't scrape it off. I mean, it's ate the chrome. It crawled. It looked good when I first did it. The next day, you can see where it crawled up into the chrome. I cleaned them grooves out really good when I scraped the chrome. I scraped and I scraped. You could tell where I heated them and melted them and bent them and everything. You get all this extra, see, Sunday in the shop. That's why I wanted to put the builds here. So I don't have to be all, like I said, feel like I'm professional, push it in. When this is done, this could probably set on the shelf up there like this, or I'll make an engine stand for it. It may not go into a car. It just might just set for a doodad. A doodad knick-knack. There you go. We're all getting sick of it, huh? I run out of ways to lay this thing down. This side should be dry. We'll lay it like that. We had it over the zinc pin once. Kind of like, oop, there's the whistle. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, folks. Time for a break. Well, what do you think? That's an awful small brush. These are some junky paint brushes. I don't know where I bought these at. I really don't know. They could have been a dollar type store or something. They're not quality like these. These I got off the internet. And I have a video on these. You just have to look for it. These are really nice. And I've got spares somewhere out there on the other desk. I need to bring them in here. Yep, that is spray can paint. I wouldn't recommend doing it unless you're used to it. You're probably going to get it on your hands. I spray it into another lid. Beware, some paint can lids have holes in them, so you can't spray it in the lid. So I got a lid off of some air freshener or something. So I wouldn't recommend doing it unless you're experienced, because that stuff is runny. It will take off so fast. If you put a drop of that spray paint, if you put too big a drop here, it will run all the way down that pipe. I painted everywhere. If you look underneath, you probably won't be able to see anywhere where I really missed. No one's ever going to see that unless they tip a model car up, look underneath. But you got to look at each angle, you know, where you're going to see it. There we go. We're going to let that dry really, really good. And we're not even going to try to use a paintbrush on that orange. If we touch that orange up, it'll be with a toothpick only, because I don't care what you do with a brush like this, you're going to bump something. And you're going to have paint on the side of the bristles. So if you just use a toothpick with it on the end of it, and the trick with the toothpick is to, I don't have one available, or do I? Take the point off. Take it so it's at least like a millimeter or so flat, because that's where your paint's going to stick to. You don't want it real pointed. You want it flat, so when you dip in your paint, you get a little bitty drop of paint on the very end of the stick. So if it's real pointed, it's not going to pick up any paint. And I'm using real old orange gooey paint too. It's an old bottle, so it's not thick paint at all. So break time. We're almost done this week. It's time to take a little break. Oh, that got to be shaky and stressful. It looks good though. Well, we got the orange in there, but we had to go back and touch the black up again. The orange was kind of runny. We forgot we put thinner in there. But it's good enough. I mean, you want to really get picky. It's hard to do because you drop that orange in there with the toothpick and it runs everywhere. So it only takes a drop. So we had to lay it as flat as we could. But then we still had some black left in the lid. It was still runny enough. You see where we painted the transmission separate? We went back and touched some of the orange up. The ears, that's hard to do those ears on there. There you go. I say it's complete. I really don't like the chrome distributor like I said, but oh well. I said we may go back and touch up these stacks and just paint it with silver paint. And that we use a toothpick too. We'll just put like a little bit on there. Bang. See if we can get that bling again. Ka-ching. Nobody's ever told me what movie that's from. The cartoon. What character goes ka-ching? There you go. We're going to call it good for this week. We'll see you next week. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed me working on the engine here.